Have you ever decided it was time to finally get your life together, tried to change every single bad habit at once, and ended up exactly where you started by Friday? When we hit a wall with our daily routines, the immediate psychological instinct is to throw everything out. We assume our current baseline is useless, so we try to discard it entirely. There's an old fable about a man who reaches this exact point of frustration. Looking at his tired, worn-out donkey, he decides the animal is beyond repair, marches it to the local market, and sells it for a meager 500 rupees. Searching for a far superior animal, he spots a beast across the market. This new donkey is draped in beautiful, heavy fabrics, covered in bells, and wearing a crown. This chart shows the stark difference in how the man values the two animals. He has a baseline actual worth of 500 rupees for his old beast. But after listening to the seller praise the new animal's immense strength, he assigns it a towering perceived value of 10,000 rupees. Convinced this is the exact solution he needs, he pays the exorbitant price. But watch what happens to that perceived value when he brings the animal home. The moment his wife strips away the heavy fabrics, bells, and crown, the value collapses down to exactly 500. Without the elaborate decorations, the man is left staring at a shocking reality. He had just spent 10,000 rupees to buy back his exact same donkey. Desperation for a quick fix blinds us to the actual mechanics of change. We let go of the tools we already have, only to chase the exact same solutions wrapped in a highly expensive, shiny new package. To see how this plays out outside of a fable, look at a guy named Alex. Over the last 5 years, Alex has launched 17 separate, highly ambitious attempts to completely overhaul his life. Every single attempt is a textbook case of decorated discontent, the modern equivalent of buying the 10,000 rupee donkey. A typical Monday for Alex looks like this. He forces a brutal 5 a.m. wake-up, mandates 12 hours of deep work, and demands he speed read 50 pages of philosophy before sleep. This diagram explains why that mathematically fails. We operate with a fixed psychological load limit, a willpower threshold container, safely supporting one behavioral change block. But with Alex's simultaneous habit stacking, massive demands drop in all at once, instantly shattering the container. Loading your schedule with highly restrictive, sudden changes doesn't prove your ambition. It creates a structural environment where failure is the only possible outcome. Fast forward 3 weeks into Alex's latest attempt. The initial surge of adrenaline wears off, and the heavy friction of those massive new decorations becomes physically exhausting. The collapse happens in a predictable chronological sequence. First, he snoozes the 5 a.m. alarms. 2 days later, the strict work blocks dissolve into distracted browsing. By the end of the week, the reading goals are entirely abandoned. This dual line graph tracks the cost of that 30-day sprint, plotting energy expended against actual progress. The energy line skyrockets initially, draining Alex's reserves. Meanwhile, actual progress remains entirely flat at 0. By day 30, energy crashes, leaving him significantly depleted. Forcing a rapid, extreme overhaul extracts a maximum psychological cost while yielding 0 sustainable forward movement. It guarantees you remain trapped right on the starting line. After failure number 17, Alex accepts a hard truth. The fantasy of waking up tomorrow as a completely different person is an expensive illusion that he has to drop. Instead of discarding his life entirely out of frustration, he decides to look closely at his current baseline and find value in the tools he already possesses. He strips away the heavy decorations, no 5 a.m. alarms, no massive reading quotas. Instead, he commits to improving just one remarkably small action, reading a single page of a book every night before sleep. By making the action so quiet and unglamorous, he bypasses the psychological resistance that triggered his previous crashes. The habit is so light, the mind doesn't bother fighting it. Jump forward to exactly 1 year later. Alex hasn't missed a single day of his one-page rule. We map this mathematical reality on a growth curve, plotting daily improvement across a 365-day axis. For months, the curve sits mostly flat, but as pages turn into books, momentum spills over. This single habit builds discipline to naturally control his entire schedule. Sustainable progress is never found in the frantic, expensive haste of a massive life overhaul. It lives in the quiet patience of taking a single